You. Dope. Where the gang at? Trickle in, trickle in. Trickle in, trickle in. What's up, Panic? Three and one. What's good, Golden? Well, I had something planned for my UK folks, but they ain't show up yet. Trickle in, trickle in. Why is my mic not working again? Dang, man, I hate having problems when I could have just not had problems. You know what I'm saying? I was going to do this one first, but
Mustafa Mohammed, a career criminal who had fatally...
We're going to watch the van one first. We were going to do the ones for my people. They ain't in here yet, so we're just going to take... This is a bad jam, but we're going to have to pause it. Because we are back. What's up, my peeps? How you doing? Let's get the sheep.
Baltimore police are requesting the public's help in identifying 2 armed robbery suspects.
They're accused of attacking a teenager with a wooden plank in South Baltimore last Tuesday. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has the details. Rebecca?
Well, much like their victim, the two suspects in this case, from the photos, they appear to be two younger males. Tonight, area residents saying that the crime is both troubling and far too familiar. Tonight, Baltimore police releasing these images of two suspects wanted in connection to an armed robbery in South Baltimore.
They look like they're around like 18.
The hoppers.
Like young. They gotta get them kids in order.
Last Tuesday around 10:45 p.m. on the 400 block of Pontiac Avenue. Police say an 18-year-old boy was followed into a back alley. The suspects reportedly demanded he hand over his belongings. When he refused, they beat him with a wooden plank, then stole his watch and hat before taking off on foot.
That's messed up.
I feel for him.
I feel for him too.
Area residents saying what's most concerning is how young the suspects appear and how often they see crimes like these.
I'm not surprised. They on the cars, now they robbing, they just jumping people.
They just need
I don't
to
know. They need some help.
While police have yet to make any arrests and are unable to confirm the
They
age of the
hoppers for
suspects,
sure. They 13, 12,
residents
13
say what's
years
happening
old.
is part of a
They
larger
hoppers for
problem.
real.
They argue more patrols and tougher consequences are needed.
They right back out on the streets. So
Them young boys, listen, the way I see it, if you out there doing big boy crimes, you need to start handing down big boy time. Now listen, I was a troubled kid when I was growing up. I was troubled by a lot of things that we'll get into later. I got this series I'm going to start. We're going to get into that on a whole different channel and all that. But the fact of the matter is, I was a troubled kid. I had a lot going on in my life that no one knew about. If they don't get these kids some help now, they're just going, them two kids that just jumped this guy, it might be too late for them. Because between I'm going to say what it was for me from between the age of 7 to the age of 11. That is your most impressionable times in your life. And that's why I'm so happy to be a father. I'm so happy to be able to be active in my kids' life each and every day. I'm thankful for that. But these kids need rest. They need harder punishments. They need not just locked up in a facility. Like, I know where they're going to go. They're going to go either to the Bryant Boys for Home, or they're going to go over to the Hill over there in Baltimore County Boys Home. But in between them 7 and 11 years, like, something happens in them. Like, they're very impressionable. Kids are very impressionable. Like, what they see, what they're going with, that's going to impact them in their life. Like, that's all them boys know, though. That's all them boys know is robbery. We ain't got no food. We ain't got no money. We ain't got nothing to do. They bored. They ain't got nothing to do. So, hey, let's rob somebody. We ain't got no money. Let's take his money. And if he ain't got no money, let's take something from him that we can pawn, sell to somebody else, anything. But I bet them little boys, they're young, but I bet you they smoke marijuana. I bet you they're on THC. I bet you they smoke Black and Miles. I bet you they smoke cigarettes. I bet you they drink alcohol, sipping lean if it's around. But they probably crush a perk up between two of them or something. But they're active. They're like grown men. They're just, their age is younger. But them boys growing up on them streets between 7 and 13, how I was growing up on them same streets, a 7 to 11-year-old boy growing up in the city, in an urban community, it's like a 22, 23-year-old. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. They are ahead of time. They are faster paced because they deal mostly with adults. Mostly with adults. That's what it is. So they need to get something for them, something to do so they can stay out of the streets. Give them something, man. I remember when I was growing up down, like, you would see the basketball courts would be full of people. Like, we got to get back there for real. We got to get back to that. We need to get back to that for real.
they mother come get them or they let them out.
To prevent young offenders from cycling through the system and turning their neighborhood streets into another crime scene.
It's crazy out here. It's
I
never
remember
gonna
just
stop.
with that.
This
That
gonna
boy
go
just
on
got
forever.
pulled from
but
that.
you want it down, they gotta do better.
Now, anyone with any information on
Parents
this case is
gotta
asked
do
to call
better.
BPD.
That's who it
and
is,
if you would like
man.
to remain
We
anonymous,
gotta be
you can
more on
always
the
call
parents,
in a tip
bro.
to Metro Crime
We gotta be
Stoppers.
more on the
Reporting live
parents.
from outside of Baltimore Police Headquarters, Rebecca Pryor, Fox
Charge
45
they
News.
parents.
Hey,
I
I'm
bet
Mackenzie
you.
Frost.
I
Thanks
bet
for
you they be
watching.
straightened up. I bet you they
Dancing
straighten
is her-
right up. You hear me? I bet you they straighten right up. Told the mama's going to jail for it now. You picking them up, taking them out there, you're not doing nothing to them on the streets, you go to jail now.
Thing. And helping kids through her youth literacy
I
program
don't know what to
is her
say,
passion.
man, but
a
these
car
boys
accident
dying, man. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. It probably do. It do got a lot to do with it, like, but down there in the city down there, it shouldn't be, because everybody down there is like, I don't know, man. This is crazy going on. This life is crazy. Life is crazy. Whoa, that shit busted through like that? We on fire. We on fire. Damn, that's a like, where they say this was at? Right, Kinswick Road in Baltimore. Kinswick. I'm trying to think where that's at. Kinswick. Damn, boom down on that thing a little bit easier, man. God dang, that thing is rocking. I used to have to flag one of them bitches, man. He booming up, booming down. He ain't got nothing on the end of there. But usually I had 3 big beams hanging off the end of that something, bitch. You know what I mean? I used to ride the iron, boys. Cowboy in the sky, they call it. But I wasn't a cowboy. I was a gangster, baby. You heard me. I was a gangster in the sky. This shit just burning. We ain't got no audio. I need fire audio ASAP. What's going on in the streets, man? Come on, tell me. My shit done fried. What is going on with you, bitch? Yeah, I got this going on. I keep freezing up. It's probably my cords over. He probably got them all messed up. This is bogus. We froze up. No, we ain't froze up. We ain't froze up. Man, another one was Saturday. Let's get back to Saturday. Baltimore narrow respect for potential cold case and killer cold case. All right, fire destroyers. 14 hours ago. G409 was wearing stabbing at the town center for Baltimore National. Huh. Where's he go, man?
The deadly shooting caught on camera in West Baltimore, leading to questions about resident safety in the area. Fox 45's Keith Daniels has been following this story for us all night.
He joins us live right now with a look into the investigation and how city leaders are responding. Keith.
Well, Guy and
That
Maxine,
ain't their
police
car
have released,
anyway.
frankly,
That's not the
stunning
man.
images of that shooting. 2 bold suspects caught on camera, and tonight those images and pressing a city leader about the safety of his constituents. On North Avenue, near Druid Hill Avenue in West Baltimore, there's peace at this hour. No sign of the daytime deadly gun violence that
You know they were going to name it after the singer Drew Hill.
Caught on camera.
That's
Police
Druid Hill.
releasing the
That's
images
real.
with
It's
the
named
tweet
after
Wednesday.
him. The
Investigators
singer, Drew
seeking
Hill.
the identity of the suspects. Look at them. They appear to be 2
Hey,
males
you gonna be able to
jumping out of
know
a dark-colored
unless you
car,
get the
both
shoes.
wearing black hoodies. One of them wearing yellow gloves, possibly hiding distinguished
Cleaning gloves.
marks on his hands. Both with guns. They point the weapons down the block and open fire. The victim, 31-year-old Virgil Holland, with a gunshot wound to the head, killed about a half block away from his home. One man who lives in
What's
the
he
area,
doing over the west, though?
after watching the video, saddened, then angered by what he saw. The gunfire in his community that potentially puts innocent bystanders in harm's way.
It makes things worse for everybody else. Like, everybody needs to go to the store here. This is our means of getting food, just coming out here to eat, and whatever else we need to do. Everything else is far away. You know, it's a convenience for us.
Their convenience on that day shattered by the bullets. The shooting happened last Friday, September 26th, just after 4.
So that one happened Friday. Where is the phone? I gotta just fucking, instead of finding it, I just gotta look it up.
That's Iron Beam.
Hours
your go-to
apart.
place for futures trading.
They set this up on purpose.
Yeah, just hold on.
And another big story we are following this evening, the two
They set that up on
mass shootings
purpose.
in Baltimore yesterday. No arrests have been made in either one yet, and in all, 10 people were shot in Baltimore yesterday alone, including a juvenile.
On North Rose Street, more than 60 shots were fired. Terrifying moments.
What did he say?
On North Rose Street, more than 60 shots were fired.
Thought he
Terrifying
said
moments that
Grove,
certainly
I got
left many
it up,
families shaken.
G.
WJZ investigator Mike Helgren, he has been on this story from the start.
Man,
Live
get
at the
your
scene of that
scary ass
brazen
out here.
daytime gunfire with new insight into what happened. Mike.
Rick, Denise, bullets were flying everywhere, and we've seen a police presence here on and off throughout the day. You can see some of the bullet holes in this
10
BMW
people
right
got
on
smoked?
Rose Street. Now, we're told the man who lost his life was shot right behind that black SUV. We talked to some friends and family members who are heartbroken tonight. So many shots were fired, more than 60 of them.
They ain't
You
got
could
no
barely see
switch.
the pavement on North Rose Street, covered in a sea of yellow evidence markers Tuesday afternoon.
They still
4
bucking.
were shot here. Police identified the victim who died as 25-year-old Sean Cummings.
And I had to sit here with this man and watch this man losing his breath, not breathing.
Right.
His last words was to me, man. That's, like, I feel some type of way because that's somebody that I love.
Sean's friend told me about his final.
Feel some type of way, losing his breath, not breathing. His last words was to me, man. That's, like, I feel some type of way because that's somebody that I love.
Sean's friend told me about his final moments and says the victim's brother was also shot in the same incident. What did he say to you?
He just told me call the ambulance, and he couldn't say nothing else. He was just like, call the ambulance. What do you say when somebody that you love is gone?
Pray, motherfucker.
You hurt.
Pray.
You get through it, man, and you just hope things get better.
Pray,
Just hours
man.
later in Northwest Baltimore,
God,
5 people were
you
shot
offer
in
your
another
heart to
mass
God.
shooting. Leader
Offer your
Thomas'
heart to
action
God.
to stop the violence many believe is out of control.
When we catch them, we have to make sure that those repeat offenders are not out committing more violent crimes.
When is enough enough?
Enough is enough when we say, all right, that was the last shooter.
Activist Tyree Moorhead does not have much faith in the politicians.
It feels like they're not here. Like they don't live in these streets, these neighborhoods. They don't hear these shots.
Exactly. They
In
don't
East
hear
Baltimore,
them.
many
And
are
you hear
scared.
that in real
For
life,
months, the
that
violence
should have
has not let
changed
up.
you, man.
Victims include a Safe Streets
Telling
worker gunned down in a mass shooting just 2 blocks from where Sean was killed.
Ducking behind the cars or ducking underneath the cars, yeah. Because how bad it is.
What would you say to the mayor and the commissioner?
Mayor, please look out for our children and do something. Get on this and clean this mess up.
So much gunfire.
They
you're
say
looking
that,
at
clean this
another
mess up,
bullet
but
hole
where?
in the
Start
front
where,
of
lady?
this
Tell me
car.
where.
And so much frustration. Police are still looking for tips in these cases, and our team coverage continues with Jessica Albert live also in this community where a vigil and rally is getting underway, and she spoke to one of the organizers. Jessica.
I want to hear that shit.
And another big story we are following.
Dying, fool.
These are your CBS News Baltimore top stories for August
this is
10th.
a different one,
I'm
'cause
Amy
Park Heights is
Kawada. Police are searching for
other side
whoever
of
shot 6 people in Northwest Baltimore, including a 5-year-old girl. It happened just before 9 last night on the corner of Spalding and Queensbury Avenues in Park Heights, which is about a block from Pimlico Racecourse. Once officers arrived on scene, they say they found 6 people who were shot. 4 men and a woman, along with that young girl. They were then rushed to the hospital. Police Commissioner Richard Worley tells us these victims were just sitting outside when the first shots were fired.
Some people were sitting outside on the porch and up against on a vehicle having some crabs, to be honest, and looks like somebody just opened fire. I don't know who they were targeting, but I'm sure there was somebody who fired these shots. That was targeting for somebody. It's still really early in the investigation.
Along with that 5-year-old girl, the other victims range in age from 23 to 52. We're told a 38-year-old man is still in critical condition. The 5 others are expected to be okay and are still being treated at the hospital. As for the suspect or suspects, no one has been identified yet, but police are now working to interview the victims and witnesses to determine what exactly led up to this shooting.
Facts.
The man found guilty of killing Harford County mother Rachel Morin is expected to be sentenced.
You know what surprises me most on the job? How many drivers I stop who don't even have auto insurance. Can't really blame them.
It's been a rough day. In the last 24 hours, Baltimore's hit 151 homicides. And tonight, police report has been a rough day. In the last 24 hours, Baltimore's hit 151 homicides. And tonight, police are investigating a mass shooting. In the middle of the afternoon, 6 people were shot in one incident in West Baltimore. WMER2 News' Eddie Kadam live at Baltimore City Police headquarters tonight. Eddie, I know you had a chance to talk to people in this neighborhood where this violence is. They got to be frustrated. At what's end at this point?
Yeah, Kelly, people are just telling me they're exhausted living through this every day. When that mass shooting happened earlier today, there was kids outside playing. There was people walking around. These people are living in these communities where these shootings are happening almost daily, and they're just fed up. They want to see arrests, but more than that, they want to see something done by the local leaders to prevent things like this from happening.
You can't have shit like this happening every
tired.
day.
Every day, like every day is a shooting. And until you get a knock on your door, you would never understand this.
The people we talked to didn't want to go on camera out of fear of retaliation. One woman who lives in West Baltimore told me she's got bullet holes in her vehicle from crossfire.
Almost hit my children. But on top of that, my child's so young that my child can't even go outside and play because right now it's only 5 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 people. Enough is enough.
Police received a shot spotter alert and calls into dispatch. Commissioner Michael Harrison said it took about 2 minutes for the first officer to get to the scene. Officers found 2 victims, puddles of blood and shell casings.
2 minutes.
Those 2 victims were brought to area hospitals. 4 other people were shot, and police found them at the hospital. One of the victims died. Police believe these 6 people were together, and 2 or 3 people shot at them from the intersection of Smallwood and Lexington, and then they ran away.
A very brazen, very cowardly act of shooting indiscriminately into a block where they hit 6 people and could have potentially hit and killed many others.
The victims are 4 men whose ages range from 26 to 44, a 16-year-old boy, and a man who was killed, but police haven't identified yet. The other 5 victims are in serious to critical condition.
We know this is
because they already identified the bodies on the other one.
This area of West Baltimore. We will not and we cannot accept that. The commissioner and I were here just a few weeks ago, along with the brothers of We Are Us, talking with residents in this area of West Baltimore about how we can work together around this very specific issue.
This came after a man was shot and killed at Mondawmin Mall just 2 days ago in the Northeast District. Police are investigating a Tuesday night shooting on Bel Air Road where one man was hurt and the second man was killed. It's on the other side of the city, but same story. The people who live here are fed up and terrified to put their face out there when they speak out.
I just don't think that in all areas that need the police presence that they're there. And that's something that the mayor should concentrate on. Although he keeps saying he's new to being mayor. He's new to being mayor, but he's been in politics for over 10 years, so he's not new to the system.
Man, they shouldn't even made him.
4, 5, 6.
Come on, bro.
Police in Baltimore are increasing the reward offered for information on this weekend's mass shooting during a block.
Officials tell CBS News there is concern that Sunday's mass shooting at a block party in the Brooklyn section of Baltimore will trigger a retaliatory attack and a new cycle of gun violence.
We are doing everything
in
our power to ensure
that
the horrific violence that occurred this weekend is not repeated either in Brooklyn or any other neighborhood across Baltimore.
Surveillance video shows a crowd filled with teenagers and young adults running for their lives as a spray of gunfire hit 30 people.
People were running everywhere, people were crying, people were out of breath.
Police announced the reward is now up to $28,000 for information leading to the arrest of those responsible for killing 20-year-old Kylis Fabemi and 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez.
I strongly urge anyone with any information to help us bring these individuals to justice.
More than a dozen of the wounded are minors, the youngest 13
or any other neighborhood across
for their lives as a spray of gunfire hit 30 people.
People were running everywhere, people were crying, people were out of breath.
Police announced the reward is now up to $28,000 for information leading to the arrest of those responsible for killing 20-year-old Kylis Fabemi and 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez.
I strongly urge anyone with any information to help us bring these individuals
responsible for killing 20-year-old Kylis Fabemi and 18-year-old Aaliyah Gonzalez.
I strongly urge anyone
wounded are minors, the youngest 13 years old. There have been nearly 130 homicides in Baltimore so far this year. The mayor says that's a 20% drop from last year. Willie James Inman, CBS News.
There have been 340 mass shootings across the United States so far this year. That's according to the Gun Violence Archive.
Motherfuckers is cooking. They got the block dumping. They got the block bumping and my system dumping. Why is this motherfucker clear? Lightning, semi-auto. Oh, it's a toy. To shoot flares? Darts. Okay. Block it, block it. What the fuck? All right, we got to watch this. We got to watch
We've got some very fresh new Lil Durk paperwork, and some people are saying that it's finally looking good for the boy Lil Durk. Now, I've said quite a few times on this channel that I personally think, in my personal, honest, own, personal, just me, not trying to get sued opinion, is that Lil Durk is perhaps cooked. He is perhaps overly cooked. He's perhaps grilled, charbroiled, perhaps. But realistically, a lot of people think that I'm capping. A lot of people think I've got the wrong opinion. That's just my personal opinion. I don't want people to get the wrong idea and think that I'm telling you for a fact 100,000%. If it's not true, if I'm lying, I'm dying. That's just my opinion. A lot of people think that Lil Durk is going to beat this, and one of those people is my guy, Seti Nash. Shout out to Seti Nash. He just posted this new paperwork on his story on Instagram, and on his as a post on Instagram, and he believes that he's been saying since the very beginning that Durk is going to go free. Now, I want to be very fair. I want to present you his opinion on this first, and then I'm going to go through the paperwork and explain why I personally... I'm not entirely convinced that he is good, but I do feel like this new piece of paperwork is make or break, and we might see things start to go in a positive direction for Durk if, and that's a big, fat, enormous 400-pounder if, the government doesn't clap back in a powerful way. But if the government does clap back in a way that I think they might clap back, it will be over for Lil Durk, and he will be fully cooked like a rotisserie chicken. I'm not going to lie, okay? So... there's a lot of nuance to this, and it all comes down to quite literally the last couple of lines of this paperwork. So I'm going to go through the entire thing. I've just read the entire 11-page document. I've made notes on everything. I'm going to break it all down for you. But before we get to that, let's look at what Seti had to say about the situation.
The only person that ain't signed an OTF that been telling y'all from day one Durk finna be found innocent. Take a look. PW1 first claimed that there was no bounty, that he did not commit the murder for money. He did it under duress, then magically changed his story. They realized what he was saying was cap, probably when the SSI removed the allegation that Didi actually paid the bounty. So here you say right here, if that doubt eliminating discovery existed, the government would certainly have cited to it in its oppression, yet it does not. Indeed, nowhere does the discovery set forth anything resembling a fixed or coherent theory of the time, place, and circumstances of the bounty, allegations, or at the direction of the allegations. On the contrary, the discovery reveals government witnesses who are consistently changing their stories. PW1, for example, has asserted that there was no bounty at all, that he did not agree to murder TB for monetary gain, and that he did so under duress. But as one might expect, in a murder for hire prosecution predicated on the existence of a bounty, he rises to meet the occasion. In one government proffer session, PW1 recounts how Mr. Wilson allegedly stayed behind in Los Angeles after the other participants flew out in order to collect the bounty money for distribution. PW1's story is, however, flatly contradicted by the objective evidence. The government's realization that PW1 lied here is likely why, between the first superseding indictment and the second superseding indictment, it deleted language alleging that Mr. Wilson paid the bounty after SR's homicide. See docket number 27, page 6 at 9, when the government's witnesses are constantly changing their stories about crucial facts as the discovery catalogs here. Mr. Banks' defense must take aim at a moving target that is fundamentally unfair. Yeah, I'm going to drop the full entire thing on my channel, but we're going to do that tomorrow. Let the bloggers have it. I'm always breaking news. Shout out to Dirk all day. Shout out to Lil Bro. Do your thing. Crazy shit.
This is me in August of last year. I was about 60 days away from going completely broke. But by the end of October, I had launched my most successful product to date, made $16,544 in 5 days, and that is all thanks to this tool right here. Now, for some context, what I launched.
So, Seti said, I'm going to let the bloggers have it. I appreciate the alley-oop once again from Seti Nash. I wonder why he's not jumping on this immediately. Does he feel like he needs somebody else to come in and maybe put a little bit more context to this? Or maybe he's just tired this evening. I don't know, okay? But I personally saw this. I thought it was very interesting. I pulled up the paperwork myself. I read through the entire thing. I made notes on absolutely everything. And I do think there's some very nuanced details that he missed, and I do think that if we get this all broken down page by page, I'm going to explain to you why this really is make or break. And I don't think this is the win, necessarily the outright victory that it's being portrayed as, but I do think this is like an ultimatum being left. Okay, they're basically saying, you ain't got nothing, show us what you got. And if they come back and show them exactly what they have, and it fills in all the gaps that Dirk is calling out, he's cooked. It's over with, right? They've put together a puzzle, and there's a few pieces missing. They're saying, if you ain't got these pieces, you ain't going to finish this puzzle, and it's all or nothing. But if they come through and they say, what do you think of this piece? What do you think of this piece? And they slot it in these perfectly puzzled, Dirk-shaped sized holes, pause, it's going to be over with, all right? So let me break it down to you. I've got it here. I've broken down all of the pages and read through the whole thing. But basically, this is Dirk Banks's reply in support of his motion to dismiss the entire indictment as a result of vagueness, or in the
Man, how many problems? Why I got so many problems? Why there gotta be so many problems? Why I gotta live with so many problems? My feet hurt. I'm trying to carry everybody, but I can't get it the same. Nobody trying to hide me. Get the pain. Nobody trying to want me. I get the flame. Nobody trying to down me. I get it. I get it. I get it. Damn, she's supposed to let me hit it. I get it. Damn. I get it. Come on, pop up, my dude. I don't know why this won't work.
Alternative for a bill of particulars. Now, basically, we're going to go full circle, and at the very end of this paperwork, it's basically going to make it very clear that they're asking the government, say, either dismiss the entire indictment or tell us what's missing. And if this is what I say, this is a Hail Mary pass, because if they actually come back with what's missing, he's cooked, it's very unlikely that they're just going to dismiss it. And there's maybe a small chance that they come back with something flimsy, but I'm just honestly not feeling like it's necessarily the biggest win for Dirk. But look, when you get into the details, I'm going to break this down, okay? So look, here basically, what we're going to see on this page is Dirk's lawyers are basically arguing that the indictment is vague because it doesn't say what the bounty that was on Quando Rondo's head is. Again, there's a lot of talk, and I think there's going to be a lot of reaction from Dirk meat riders that are basically going to be like, look, see, like, there ain't no bounty, there's nothing, they ain't got nothing on him. No, it's not they ain't got nothing on him. They explained very clearly, we don't want to show you some of these things because it's going to compromise our witnesses. It's going to put people's families, it's going to put people's lives in danger. Okay. Exactly. But Dirk's given them an ultimatum and they probably are going to have to come back. Okay. But what's interesting here is it basically says, okay, that Dirk basically, they wanted to clarify very specific things, 2 specific things: the alleged bounty and the pervasive
the San Fernando Valley.
Here it is. It's your boy Stevie83 back with another one.
To Mexico. You may have watched it right here on Eyewitness News.
She drove
at 11
it,
a.m.
chased from LA to Mexico. What? She went from LA to Mexico.
Bruh. Got the chase in the Sepulveda Pass around 11:20. Scott Reif overhead helping us call it all.
We think it started around the 405 at Burbank Boulevard in the Van
Chopper
Nuys
83.
area. You do have a patrol car right behind.
They put
also have a
a
helicopter overhead.
The woman was reportedly able to make it to Mexico by about 1:30 p.m. An amazing feat to make it down the 405 through Orange County to the 5 in San Diego County. No traffic and a little more than 2 hours. The woman driving about 155 miles, never hitting extreme rates of speed. The CHP attempting several spike strips, the woman able to avoid all of them.
Wow. Or, oh boy, what is that? Was that a spike strip they tried to go around? That may have been.
How'd she get through the border,
I don't know where it
though?
came from, though, unless a patrol car somehow got it out there.
How? Don't they just gun you down?
Side. I think it's going to make the spike strip that much more difficult because the suspect will have time to move and get away. There they are. You see, they tried it right there. You saw the officer at the top of your screen.
Here's what we know about the driver. It was a woman who was experiencing a mental health issue. She reportedly took that van from her mother, who called the CHP. Right now, we don't know if Mexican authorities will work with police here in the U.S. to take her into custody.
If that was a man, though, they would have crashed the vehicle and you might have lost your life. I don't know. But these people crazy.
And that is the outcome we speculated about for about an hour as it approached. Scott Reif said he's never covered one like that before.
Very unusual.
Why they give women fair play?
Parents of children who play Roblox.
Huh?
If your child was sexually exploited, abused.
Why they let her go the whole way?
Performance and security, protecting you from malicious bots and DDoS attackers that can take down.
Okay, we want to go to breaking news. The LAPD is in pursuit of carjacking suspects.
Gil Avis overhead in Sky 5. Gil.
Well, looking at this pursuit, it's very dangerous in South LA. We're looking at, I believe this is Southeast Division that's in pursuit of this vehicle. It is running red lights, stop signs. It is going back and forth, east and westbound here on surface streets. Again, carjacking suspects that are being chased by the LAPD. We don't know how many are in the vehicle right now, but the car is traveling at a high rate of speed. Right down the center, double yellow lines. Look at that. Very dangerous. We got a lot of traffic out here tonight. And here's Normandy, T intersection. He's got a green light. He's going to come back northbound. So he really hasn't set up a pattern of sorts on this pursuit. Not really staying in the same area, but has been on Figueroa, has been on Broadway, has been on Gage. So here we are on, this is Normandy, and he's going to go wrong side of the road here. No, almost doing that turn pocket right through the red light.
Oh, man.
But multiple red lights this vehicle's run. It's extremely dangerous with the amount of traffic out here at this hour.
Yeah, as we take a look at how fast he's going on these surface streets. I mean, going 55, 60 miles per hour on surface streets is pretty fast, you know, so he's jetting through this area. And you've got LAPD behind him. Obviously, at this rate of speed, you're not going to see a pit maneuver. It's just too fast and too many people around. And at this hour, at 6 o'clock, we have a lot of people that are getting home from work or from school. And it's a pretty, as you can see there, pretty busy neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's we're on Martin Luther King Jr. right now, westbound.
He got that fake tag ready to blow
at Denker, and he's going to travel at this speed. He's looking at him. He's going to go across those yellow line, wrong side of the road, against traffic there. Boy, those people not knowing what's going on. This guy's coming right at him. He's going to be stuck here a little bit here. Again, another close call. That's going to, well, I was going to say that's going to put LAPD right behind, a ways away, but not really. He stayed with him. So now he's in some heavy traffic. He's going to try to get around me. He might use the sidewalk. Let's see. Nope, he's going to use that lane. He had an open lane there, and he's going to continue westbound through Western, and he's going to hit the gas once again. So extremely dangerous. This driver desperate to get away.
We're looking at a newer model car, possibly a Toyota Camry, and you can see the paper plate on the back of that car. And blacked out windows, Gil, hard to get a read on how many people might be inside this car. It looks like those front windows are tinted as well.
Absolutely, Micah. Let me see if I can double in here and you can get a look for yourself. Yeah, super hard to see what's going on inside the vehicle, but he's through another intersection. It looks like he has some damage on that driver's side rear fender. But continuing on, I don't know if that happened during the chase or not.
He better get
we haven't heard of any collisions at this point, but here's the chase still on. Again, a carjacking suspect wanted by the LAPD, failing to yield to them and continuing this crazy pursuit at a high rate of speed on these surface streets at this hour. Very dangerous. Look at that. He's blowing by those cars. 85 miles an hour.
False hope,
That's crazy. This is just extremely dangerous.
Oh my gosh, now almost at 100 miles per hour. There it is, over 100 miles per hour on surface streets here on MLK Boulevard. And it is just terrifying to watch as he, you know, thankfully that was a green light, but he's been blowing through some intersections and red lights over there and stop signs as well. And,
like,
you know, going this rate of speed is, my gosh, just... it's putting everybody on the edge of their seat, and you just never know if there's going to be somebody in the crosswalk. You're never going to be able to brake in time for that.
I've been 100 on
there. And that was a red light that he just blew through there. A couple of green lights, but 3 intersections back, it was a red light. And again, this is 70, 80 miles an hour. No way to react in an intersection if somebody comes across. Highly likely that somebody doesn't see you when you're moving. You don't expect this coming at a speed like this on surface streets. You just don't, unless you hear the lights and sirens or you happen to see the helicopters overhead. It's just so dangerous, and the unexpected is really, you know, when you see them coming, you can get out of the way. It's when you don't see them coming that you either pull in front of them or something else happens where they can't avoid you, and it becomes obviously a violent collision at a speed like that with horrible results. So again, carjacking suspects increasingly desperate to get away. LAPD officers in pursuit. And Gil, the question at this point with driving like this, does the LAPD back off at some point?
You know, it's difficult to make that call. I think that they might pull off, but because it's a carjacking suspect, and there was talk about this might have been a burglary suspect or robbery suspect. We're going to work on getting more information on that as well. So with potentially at least 2 serious crimes here, they're probably not going to back off, although at this hour, boy, it's so difficult for LAPD to determine that. They want to put out a spike strip up ahead, but the speed in which this driver is driving, it makes it very difficult for officers to get into position ahead of it, let alone knowing if he's going to stay on a certain street or all of a sudden change direction.
Right, and when they do that spike strip, you know, they kind of like lay it out there, and even the officer sometimes is in the street itself, you know, and so they could possibly get injured at the rate of speed that this particular carjacking suspect is going. And I'm actually quite surprised that the LAPD is not backing off right now, considering the speed and the amount of people that are on the road right now. I mean, and this,
why would he? They're violent offenders.
This carjacking suspect is so erratic and driving at just high rate of speed, and it's just, oh my gosh.
Happy birthday, Mama.
Boy, that was a dangerous move. It was Los Cienegos northbound. He turned right on
Happy birthday, Mama.
Because I don't think he wanted to turn there. I think he had to turn there because of the cross traffic, and now he's on surface streets running stop signs. Here's a neighborhood.
To you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you. Ha ha ha. There you go. I thank you.
What it looks like as far as traffic. There's the package for the LAPD.
Now you can
the
say you've been
there.
over with
looks like 5 or 6 units in the pursuit,
been sung
and
to
the
your
airship
birthday
tracking
over
overhead.
the internet.
Slowed down quite a bit here. We got
Online.
speed bumps, that's why. So he's
now
going over
be
some
in the
speed
cloud
bumps
forever,
here.
Mama.
But we'll likely see if those speeds
be in the
increase once it
cloud
gets to
forever.
major.
Yeah, and keeping it at slower speeds in the neighborhood, fortunately. But just moments ago, if you were with us, you saw him moving at 100+ miles an hour on surface streets. Obviously, the red lights were not a concern for this driver, blowing through a number of intersections at a near miss just moments ago. There you see the airship above. And again, with this erratic driving, LAPD remaining on the tail of these carjacking suspects in what we believe may well be a Toyota Camry. It is a newer model. We can see the paper plates on the back of the car. But we cannot see inside the vehicle. The windows all tinted, blacked out, so very difficult to tell at this point how many other people may be in the car aside from the driver. But a very desperate situation for this driver, for these carjacking suspects as they try and break free from the LAPD. And an example, again, in an intersection of drivers that don't see it coming. And at the higher rates of speed, there's just going to be no way for this driver to stop and avoid a collision without some sort of catastrophic outcome. So you can only cross your fingers. And again, driving at these higher speeds on surface streets, you know, you always want to see this sort of thing on the freeway where at least all the traffic is going in the same direction. But with the potential for cross traffic and pedestrians, it just really ups the ante and makes it so very dangerous. Gil.
I'm so worried for this community right now as he's going through, you know, at 60, 70, and at some points going 100 miles per hour. I just, you know, at 6 o'clock, you've got kids that are being picked up from their sports and, you know, parents that are crossing the street, and, you know, it makes you so worried for this community right now, because the only thing that's on the mind of this carjacking suspect is trying to get away as fast as possible, Gil.
Boy, yeah, no doubt. we're eastbound Washington. The map says westbound, but we're
Steph told
eastbound.
me,
Here he
text me,
comes
said y'all
into
were
an
coming up
intersection
on Christmas.
with a heavy traffic here. I can tell you that the airship is doing a great job calling the pursuit for the ground units here. They're looking ahead at the intersections coming up and giving them the heads up, whether it's a green light or red light, if they have cross traffic or not. That really helps those officers to watch their cross traffic when they enter these intersections. But for now, the suspect's still driving erratic, still high speeds.
It was calling for
this is
snow up
again
here
Washington
today,
and Harcourt
I mean,
and Lincoln
last
Out
night,
Wide.
but
We'll see
what
we have up ahead here. Nowhere to go because of that island. Let's see what the driver does. He's going to turn down that side street. So the driver looking for every option he can take to get away
out there.
Yeah, and thus far successful in eluding capture. LAPD really not able to do much offensively in a situation like this, but do the best they can to stay on this driver's tail. But again, you're putting the motoring public, you're putting pedestrians in harm's way in a big way when you have driving at these speeds on surface streets. And the odds, are not good for avoiding some sort of collision and some sort of catastrophic outcome when you see driving at 80 miles an hour on surface streets. Fortunately, much slower here as we get into the neighborhood. And you wonder whether they're thinking potentially foot bail in a neighborhood like this. We've seen it so many times. Hard to say at this point, but LAPD, they're tracking this from the air as well, as you see just in November. The officers pinched in there for a moment, creating a little bit of separation on this pursuit as they run essentially north and east along the 10 freeway, but to this point, remaining on surface streets in the mid-city area.
Eastbound. Yeah, no doubt. Eastbound Adams now. He worked his way through that neighborhood, and because of cars that were coming the opposite direction, a narrow street, the LAPD units got backlogged there, backed up. So he's got a little bit of room between himself and the lead unit. But look at that, wrong side of the road, cross traffic coming his way. That car's trying to make a left. Boy, you really don't know what's going to happen with this guy because he's willing to go wrong side of the road at a high rate of speed and go right into traffic. It's insane to do that at this hour.
I mean, one wrong move and this could be catastrophic. And so, as we watch this and watch the LAPD keep up with him, you just wonder if maybe perhaps he'll slow down just enough for a pit maneuver and put a stop to this. And Gil, you know what? Have they been even approved to do a pit maneuver, even though that it's at these high speeds? Maybe when he gets down to like the 35 to 45
traffic, man.
mile per hour speeds, they would approve a pit maneuver for this one?
Block the road. He can't get through.
I think they would, especially at points like this where he slows down and makes a right turn or a left turn. That's going to be the prime spot for a pit maneuver. But actually, LAPD's talking about trying to do spike strips more than they're talking about trying to do a pit maneuver, likely because of the speed this car is driving. The only chance they're going to get is like this, where he's going to go around, maybe he's going to turn there, but he does not. So they're looking for an opportune time to do that right when he slows down enough to make that happen.
Yeah, that's an interesting proposition when you're on major boulevards and thoroughfares with so many other moving parts. There was an LAPD officer there out of his patrol cruiser and in the crosswalk, unsure if that was at some sort of an attempt or the beginning of an attempt at a spike strip, but much more effective when you can get them in the neighborhood and they're driving on a narrow street and they're the only one that's moving in the space. And you can hide behind another car, and we've seen them do that so many times. But out in the open like this, increasingly difficult to be successful with that. Although they will try, and as I said, there's a pedestrian just crossing, and now LAPD on the wrong side of the road as well, as the desperate driving continues. These carjacking suspects, unclear at this point how many people are in the car, but this situation is very, very dangerous, very volatile, and the LAPD is sticking with it for the time being on the ground. As you see this moving up into the 60, 70 mile an hour range, we've seen it move much faster than that on surface streets, and look at LAPD right on the tail of the suspect.
LAPD on the ground and also in the air following this pursuit and Gil, you were saying that they've been doing a great job calling it, and that is a challenge at these speeds.
It really is. Here he is, wrong side of the road. Boy, wow, what a dangerous move there. He's got, wow, look at that. Blind intersection we just went through, but he's still wrong side of the road. So LAPD has their hands full for sure. And by the way, that was a spike strip attempt that they made there back just a minute or two ago with that officer out of his vehicle, but unfortunately it didn't work. But look at that. Here's a car making a left-hand turn, and a pursuit comes by him on the left. So a very dangerous situation for everybody out here tonight with this driver who's desperate to get away and willing to do anything, including 85, 90 miles an hour on surface streets.
And blowing through red lights as the sun sets and dusk sets in, visibility gets more challenging. And in some cases, more challenging at dusk than it is when night falls, as your eyes begin to adjust to the darker landscape and frankly more challenging in a lot of scenarios. There's somebody pulling out nearly in front of the suspect. LAPD sticking with this again, high speeds and the wrong side of the road. Too often we're seeing this. We saw an attempted spike strip 4 minutes ago in a major intersection, which is again very challenging. We have so much open space and a suspect can easily go around that spike strip. The LAPD making an effort at it, unsuccessful as far as we can tell. It appears this car has all 4 tires in good condition moving this way at very high speeds and swerving in and out of traffic. And Gil, this driver has, just frighteningly little concern for driving on the wrong side of the road.
Right there.
It doesn't seem like it's been.
It doesn't look like it's that important
it's just
for him.
Unbelievably close on the other side of the road. That driver was so close to getting hit. But you just watch this and you just wonder, like, what is on. They're trying to just keep as much freedom as they can, before they know the inevitable is going to happen.
Dummy. Yeah, dummy.
And I think they think they're invincible, like nothing's going to happen to them, but they're not taking into consideration other people that are driving. They have no idea what's going on. He comes right at them on the wrong side of the road. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how they're going to react. So it's extremely selfish for this driver to be like this, to drive at innocent drivers, go through red lights, cross streets, and not care for anybody else, just wanting to get away. It's so wrong. But here he is. Southbound on Vermont, and unfortunately we can't stay over due to the air traffic for LAX. We're going to have to hold here, but we'll stick with it as long as we can.
I've counted on more than one hand very close calls with pedestrians in crosswalks here in the last 10, 15 minutes. You don't see it coming. Oftentimes people have earbuds in and can't hear what's going on, which is a whole nother story. But, walking out into intersections with this coming, we've seen it 4, 5, 6 times in the last 15, 20 minutes. Fortunately, no one's been hit that we can tell. Obviously, there's some damage to the rear fender there on this vehicle, but that damage was not occurred since we've been over this, so no idea to this point how that happened. If the car was like that, again, carjacking suspects, the car may well have been damaged prior to the pursuit. Obviously, if it happened during the pursuit, it happened before we were over it. So no word or further explanation for that, other than to say there have been very, very close calls with pedestrians and other vehicles, too many times to count, on surface streets at high rates of speed, and very fortunate, this community at this point, that nothing terrible has happened with this driver moving the way he is. Now, you see him slowing down in the intersection, which is a good sign. We've seen erratic behavior and driving much worse than that in the last 15, 20 minutes. So to see him slowing down a bit at intersections is obviously a small bit of progress in an otherwise very tense, very reckless, and very dangerous pursuit.
Hiring someone abroad and not sure if they're eligible to work there? With remote, that's not a blocker. That's a built-in step.
No, I just don't
Boy,
want
no
to do
doubt.
it.
And he's now southbound on Figueroa at Slauson, going through that red light. So we'll stick with this as long as we can here with the long shot. But it seems like it doesn't matter what street this driver's
right
on.
In gang
he's
territory,
determined
man.
to use whatever lane he can to get away. And LAPD, though, sticking with it now. Again, we know it's a carjacking suspect. What we don't know or not sure of is was that person that was carjacked still in the vehicle or not? We don't know that, so we'll work on getting that information as well. But here we go, a Gage. He's got nowhere to go except the wrong side of the road. Look at that, right through a big rig that was pulling out, and now he's going to go right through that red light. Spike strip there. You see that officer threw one out, and he decided, he saw it, and he decided, no, I'm going to make a left-hand turn real quick. So unfortunately, that's a missed opportunity, but officers doing whatever they can to bring this to a stop. Here he goes southbound. This is going to be
gotta make
he's
sure
going to get on the freeway actually here.
Man. Don't
so
let
he's
him
going to be
see
going
it before you
that's
throw
Flower onto the 110 freeway southbound.
Man.
But look what he has ahead of him.
Quicker
Nothing but traffic.
Gotta be quicker than that.
Yeah, looks like he's going to. Now this is when things can get a little bit dicey with a guy that's wanting to drive as fast as he is. Drove on the surface streets, and now he's on the freeway. Oh, is he exiting? No. It looks like he's going to drive on the shoulder. And, there's a lot of debris on the shoulder, so that could be the spike strip that we're looking for.
Yeah, that's Karma's spike strip. And we've seen it happen before. On the shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder, you don't see it. And obviously a lot of stuff can gather and does gather on the side of the freeways. But look at this desperation. It's just it appears aiming for the next off ramp and doesn't like what the driver sees on the freeway.
Get back on the interstate,
there's not a lot of maneuverability in this scenario. Not sure what it looks like ahead. If it loosens up, there's room, and it looks like he wants to stay on the freeway. And jumping off at Imperial Highway close to the 105 and into the neighborhood here. Driving in circles now at this point, which might indicate, again, they're familiar with the area. They're looking for a place to foot bail, potentially. Hard to say, but we do know LAPD has been making an effort at a spike strip. They've done so on a number of occasions, unsuccessful to this point. There you see the LAPD airship coming right through our shot. So they have a clear set of eyes on this, along with media eyes, by the way, which often help law enforcement apprehend suspects who eventually will foot bail in a pursuit situation. If they don't see, the direction they ran, they'll often confer with media helicopters to help pinpoint the suspect's location. But you see LAPD there with the night sun on these suspects in a clear shot. And LAPD not letting this one go. Very, very aggressive.
90.
No. Yeah,
Ontario,
it is very impressive.
88.
And they are right on his tail.
72.
So any
Los
chance
Angeles,
this driver thinks
77.
of jumping out and running,
Damn,
those
they got
officers
the best
are ready to
weather
run
out
as well.
there, don't they?
And they are right on him. So he's not going to get much further. Here it is. Here's the bail. The driver, passenger.
There's a bunch
looks
of
like
them in that
three,
bit.
possibly 1, 2, 3. They're sticking together, running back towards Hooper. And we'll see those officers coming from right behind them. We got other units. They're trying to intercept them here in front. And they're going to be going on 3 suspects. The white jacket in the lead, that's the driver.
I'd drop that
jacket.
jacket.
It looks like he's going to come out through that street, and we'll see.
No, I died right there.
I'm hearing the air unit trying to get units to cut him off here. They're thinking about going into that little tent. Maybe not. Looking for an open door, and they're going into what might be an open door there. Then they are. They're going inside that apartment. And right next to that tent, but look at that, LAPD is right there. All 3 went in.
I'd be like, I'd tell my friend, bitch, you brought them to me.
They go in there, and they did. So now they're going to set up a perimeter.
Man?
They have officers on both sides of the building. So it looks like they're not going to get away. They're going to contain them into this apartment complex here off of Zamora, and we'll likely get these 3 in custody shortly.
Yeah, and it is highly likely they know who lives in this residence, or potentially it is their residence. But as we saw their movements here in the waning moments of the pursuit, Gil, it was pretty clear that as they circled in this neighborhood, that they were looking for a place to bail. And they, in fact, did just that. So a perimeter is being set up. And, Gil, I assume more resources coming into the neighborhood.
They got to kick the door down.
Absolutely, more resources. And I'm hearing now that they have one of those suspects in custody. He may have tried to get out another way out of this building. So two still outstanding, 1 in custody, they're saying.
The reason we exist is because you cannot stay ahead of all threats. So what we do is we block by default. If it's not on the list,
Hey, I'm contact. Get out the car with your hands up.
This is my city. It's not worth it. It ain't.
Here we go again with the BB guns.
Stand up.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm not agitated.
We want to bring you this breaking news. You are looking at a live picture right now of what is believed to be an ambulance chase that seems to have come from a stop. This is out in Cicero. I want to get to Chris Habermill, who's in Skywatch watching this. Chris?
This was ambulance 15 from the town of Cicero. It was stolen from Loretto Hospital, and in the last few minutes has been taking officers on a wild pursuit. They actually caught up with this ambulance once in traffic over at Jackson and Central. Then the ambulance, the person who got in there, you could see that there's just a tremendous amount of officers that are basically piled on top of this guy that they just took out of the ambulance here. Make sure that this doesn't happen again. It was Jackson and Central that they confronted the driver that got into the ambulance without authorization, and that individual barricaded themselves in there, refused to come out, and took off. Officers then had several of their squad cars rammed by this ambulance. You can see the heavy damage here. Literally, the collision happened just before he came to us, ran into a civilian car in traffic. Also, hit a squad car, spun a squad car around. There's debris all over the place here. But the individual, you can see the open side door has been taken out of the ambulance there. Obviously, this is quite the desperate situation when you have an ambulance that has a siren and lights, and basically people would be getting out of the way for the ambulance, but not when it's being driven like this. This ambulance went back and forth, up and down Central to Lake, back to Central again, went the wrong way on Lake, then back out to Central, a little bit north up here to Chicago Avenue, and then off of Central back to the eastbound.
Did they say he was DOA?
Rammed into a civilian vehicle here. And now you've got an individual here who has been obviously taken very much into custody. They're
carrying his
no chances with this individual. They are under heavy police detention here, if you will, and making sure that this individual who obviously was in some sort of a mental state that dictated that orders by the officers were ignored, and then decided to run off with the ambulance and continue to ram into squad cars along the way. I don't know at this point how many other vehicles may have been hit on this wild pursuit, basically after this ambulance was stolen from Loretto Hospital. But the ambulance came from the town of Cicero, apparently was over doing business at Loretto Hospital. Somebody jumped into it, took off, and was confronted first at Central and Jackson. Then
he wasn't minding his own business down there in Cicero. That's what happened. That's what happened to him.
The chase. Cars were being rammed. It sounded like some shots may have been fired there. So part of who, that is not clear at this hour, but this ambulance chase came to an end on Chicago Avenue. We'll get you across street here in just a minute, but basically you can see, yeah, go ahead.
Chris, I'm wondering, it was tough to make out any details about who the person that stole this ambulance or got into it and was driving it may have been, because there were so many officers around them. Do you agree with me, or were you able to see any identifying signifiers?
I don't know how he did anything.
I was looking hard, but they were making sure that this individual wasn't going to get in anything else.
Right.
They obviously were basically unpredictable enough to jump in a fully marked ambulance and not pay attention to officers. So when dozens and dozens, literally, of officers responded into the scene from all directions, they really did not want this ambulance to get any further in here. And whoever was driving this thing, whoever jumped behind the wheel and basically stole this ambulance, proved beyond a reasonable doubt that they were willing and more than capable of ramming into police cruisers, jeopardizing the public safety. So this had to come to some sort of a conclusion. And you can see there